Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley details feud with brother Chase since parents' prison time. I don't know if it can ever be repaired. The Chrisley family is finally back together again, but a set of federal prison sentences may have been the least of their problems. The Chrisleys, back to reality, Lifetime's latest addition to the armada of reality series chronicling the private lives of the TV dynasty, catches up with the Chrisleys at the tail end of Todd and Julie's time in lockup. The patriarch and matriarch of the real estate empire and figureheads of the USA Network's popular Chrisley Knows Best were convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion in 2022 and sentenced to a combined 19 years in prison. Their daughter, Savannah, worked tirelessly to earn her parents a presidential pardon, which Donald Trump granted in May. But Back to Reality shows that the long shadow cast by Todd and Julie's imprisonment allowed for a dangerous kind of rot to fester back home. In a prescient phone call from prison included in the first episode of Back to Reality, Julie shared that her greatest worry while being in prison is my children. I worry that they're okay. I worry that they're getting along because I'm not there to wrangle everyone and diffuse a situation. She specifically pointed to Chase and Savannah, the eldest son and daughter she shares with Todd, who have fought since they were teenagers. And that worries me because I feel like the divide is just going to get bigger and bigger. Back to Reality proves just that, and it's not just Julie who's worried. Todd's colorful mother Nanny Faye, a popular recurring character on Chrisley Knows Best, shared her own concerns with Julie's mother, Pam Hughes. Well, Pam, and you have got to come up with a solution to help everyone out. What are we going to do with Chase and Savannah? She wonders, adding that because of Todd and Julie's absences, this family's been torn apart. Chase and Savannah both chose to participate in Back to Reality, and had quite a bit to say about the feud themselves. Since my mom and dad have been away, we haven't been in the same room all together, let alone sat down for dinner with everybody, Chase revealed. I know there's some tension there between me and Savannah. Though Savannah fondly recalled that growing up, I feel like we were always best friends. We did everything together. Chase's view of the time has altered in retrospect. In a call from prison, Todd shared, I always told Savannah you can do anything a boy can do. In fact, 9 times out of 10 you can probably do it better. And Chase would say to me, yeah, and look what you raised, a monster. Sign up for Entertainment Weekly's free daily newsletter to get breaking TV news, exclusive first looks, recaps, reviews, interviews with your favorite stars, and more. Chase and I are definitely on rocky terms because over the past 2.5 years, he has not helped me at all. I mean, when it comes to the kids, financially mom and dad, he has not picked up a single ounce of slack, and he's been given ample opportunity to do so, Savannah explained. While Todd and Julie were in prison, Savannah stepped up to parent their other minor children, Grayson, 18, and Chloe, 12. She was also open about having to make major lifestyle shifts that came with the new economic burden, and dedicated herself to advocating for a pardon, going as far as the 2024 Republican National Convention to demand one. During the family dinner that concludes episode 1 of Back to Reality, Chase conceded to Savannah's hard work. But he's skeptical about her claim that she was forced to rough it alone. Savannah wants help on Savannah's time, he said. As much as Savannah says she wants my help, I don't think Savannah actually wants any help because she wants to be able to say she did it on her own. Savannah, meanwhile, said she believes that any time Chase tries to connect with me, it is strictly performative because there is always something he wants to get. She solemnly warned, there is a lot of resentment. So when things are said and done, I don't forgive it. I don't know if it can ever be repaired, honestly. Once I shut someone off, I shut them off. Savannah Chrisley had always believed that if the Chrisley family could survive reality TV, internet trolls, business scandals, and Todd's larger-than-life personality, then they could survive anything. But she never expected the real fracture to come from within, from the one person she once considered her built-in best friend, her partner in crime, her lifelong confidant, her brother Chase. It had been almost 2 years since their parents, Todd and Julie, began serving their combined decades-long prison sentences. Those 2 years had stretched, twisted, and rearranged Savannah's world until it was nearly unrecognizable. She had become a caretaker overnight, raising Grayson and Chloe while juggling a public platform built on transparency, faith, and resilience. But behind that polished exterior, behind the podcasts and Instagram posts, lay a truth she had been avoiding. Her relationship with Chase was broken, splintered in a way that felt increasingly permanent. And today, sitting on the balcony of her Nashville townhouse as a soft winter sun filtered through the clouds, she finally said the words aloud. "I don't know if it can ever be repaired," she whispered into the microphone during another brutally honest podcast episode. But the story behind that sentence, those 10 small, heavy words, was much bigger. A rift that started quietly. It hadn't begun with shouting or slammed doors. It started in the quiet moments. Late-night phone calls Chase didn't answer, group messages left without reply, holidays where he came late and left early. At first, Savannah thought it was grief manifesting in different ways. Todd had always said that every child reacts differently to adversity, and she tried to remember that. But soon the distance turned into frustration. Savannah was drowning trying to keep the family afloat, and Chase, once dependable, goofy, loyal, seemed to drift into a life of avoidance. He didn't want to visit their parents as often. He didn't want to discuss appeals. He didn't want to film. He didn't want to talk about the weight she carried raising Grayson and Chloe. He didn't want to step into any role that required sacrifice. And Savannah, who had taken on everything without blinking, felt abandoned. Confrontation and collateral damage. The real breaking point had come 3 months earlier during what was supposed to be a simple Sunday dinner at Nanny Faye's house. It started like all Chrisley gatherings, too much food, too much laughter, too much commentary from everyone. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. Nanny had been fussing because her babies weren't getting along, but even she knew better than to force a reconciliation. Savannah calmly asked Chase why he hadn't picked up Grayson from practice the week before. After promising he would, something snapped. "You're not Mom, Save," he said, his voice just sharp enough to cut. "You can't control everything." Savannah froze. The room froze. Nanny's fork hovered midair. Chloe's eyes widened. Even Grayson looked up from his phone. "All I'm asking," Savannah said carefully, "is for you to show up. We're all hurting, Chase. But you're acting like you're the only one allowed to fall apart." Chase shot back, louder this time. "I'm allowed to deal with things how I need to. Just because you turned yourself into Superwoman doesn't mean I have to." And then he walked out. It was the first time Savannah had cried in months. Not from stress, not from exhaustion, but from pure heartbreak. Life without her best friend. In the weeks that followed, they barely spoke. Savannah threw herself deeper into her responsibilities. School drop-offs, court updates, podcast interviews, family therapy, Chloe's dance lessons, Grayson's football games, bills that needed paying, attorneys that needed calling. Every time she needed help, wanted a sounding board, or simply desired a familiar presence to ease the loneliness, she instinctively reached for her phone to call Chase, only to stop herself. "I feel like I've lost my brother," she admitted quietly to a friend one night. "And not because he's gone, but because he's choosing not to be here." It wasn't anger at this point. It was grief. Grief for someone who was still alive but unreachable. Chase's side of the story. There were whispers, mostly from extended family and friends, that Chase felt overshadowed by Savannah's role. That he resented the pressure placed on him, pressure he never asked for. That he felt judged for not being more like her. "He thinks everything he does is wrong," a relative told Savannah during a phone call. "And everything you do is right." That wasn't the truth, not in Savannah's eyes. But pain distorts everything, even reality. Still, she couldn't change a situation she didn't create. She had stepped up because she had to. Because someone needed to. Because Todd and Julie had raised her to never let family sink. But she couldn't force Chase to move at the same pace. And that was the part she struggled to accept. The moment she said it out loud. During her podcast recording, she finally let the truth spill out. "I love my brother more than anything," she said, voice trembling. "But right now we are not okay. And I don't know if it can ever be repaired because the hurt has gotten too deep." She paused, letting the silence fill the room. "I want us to heal. I want him back. But healing takes 2 people. And I can't drag him into a place he isn't ready to go." It was the most vulnerable she had been publicly since her parents went away. And yet, oddly, she felt lighter after saying it. Sometimes facing the truth was its own kind of freedom. A glimmer of hope. But the Chrisleys had always been fighters, messy, dramatic, stubborn fighters. And Savannah, even in her pain, couldn't let go of hope completely. She thought about the childhood memories, their pranks, their late-night talks, their shared dreams of big futures. She remembered Chase holding Chloe when she was sick, teasing Grayson about his haircuts, hugging Savannah when her world felt shaky long before prison changed everything. "He's still in there," she whispered to herself sometimes. "My brother is still in there. And maybe someday, after the dust of trauma settled and life found its rhythm again, they could find their way back. Maybe the rift wasn't permanent. Maybe grief had only paused their story, not ended it. But for now, Savannah lived in the painful in-between, loving someone deeply while accepting that love alone couldn't fix what had broken. As she ended her podcast recording, she said the words she'd been holding on to for months. "I'll be here when he's ready. I just hope one day he's ready."